Okay, we're live. Yay! We're on Facebook Live now.
Oh
Not
my
on the
gosh,
radio yet,
terrific.
but
Okay.
We're on Facebook. You're famous.
Wow, thank you.
I think
I've
you were
always
famous
wanted to
before.
I don't know. My daughter's starting to wonder about that, actually.
Yeah, no, you'll never be famous, your
No,
kids.
yeah.
That's all right. All right, we'll wait for Benny. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. And it's been a busy December in real estate. True to form, everybody always wonders what the real estate market does in December. It's actually pretty busy. I've seen a lot of sales happening. There are buyers out there, properties are going under contract, and our office always does a monthly stats, and so we will have these on the website after the show. I know I flip it around like you can see it on Facebook Live. You can't. But if you go to NicoleMangina.com/podcast after the show, we'll have it online, and you can see this chart. And it breaks it down for all of King and Snohomish County by the individual areas. And it shows both the number of sales, the average sales price, and the days on market. And there's some pretty interesting things here. What it shows you is year over year, prices are still up. They are definitely down from where they were at the beginning of this year, but that's pretty typical. Prices go up usually the first half of the year. They backtrack a little bit the second half of the year, but year over year, we are still up quite a bit from 2017. You will see that the number of sales is down slightly, but I think that's okay. It's interesting, really for the last 5 years, every year we do more sales with less inventory. So it's only a matter of time that something's going to flip-flop there. So still a lot of sales, fewer than last year, but the days on market, which is usually the most telling part, because when that starts creeping up, as days on market gets longer, that's usually more indicative of prices coming down. And the days on market are pretty similar to last year. They've changed by a couple of days, but not substantially. So I think we're going to be okay. The market's going to be fine. The sky is not falling. Mm-hmm. Buyers and sellers are still out there doing stuff. So anyway, that's your market update for today. If you'd like more information on buying and selling real estate on the East Side, feel free to reach out. I invite you to send me an email, nicole@NicoleMangina.com. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest, Larry J. Snyder. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be here, Nicole.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I think we need like 18 encores. We're just going to book them today.
All right.
Because
we'll start with
back.
today.
Okay. You are a man of many talents. You've got several books out. You're an auctioneer. You do a lot of work for the community. Mm-hmm. So let's dive in. Let's dive into I would say the one that's most near and dear to my heart, but they're actually both. Your first book, The Miracles in Montanare, because it's Italian, and
of course,
I'm Italian, and
absolutely.
It makes me happy.
And that was one of the reasons why I was drawn to your show in the first place,
right.
Is being able to share my love and passion for all things Italian with an Italian is really important to me. And again, this book has been a huge blessing because we've been able to tell the stories from a small village in Tuscany of just 250 people, and they've all become really special and close friends of ours, and we just spend at least a little bit of time each day, again counting our blessings for having such wonderful friendships on the other side of the world, which have helped us live a better life here.
That's great.
Yeah.
How'd you find this village?
It's a bit of a long story, but I'll tell you the short version,
okay.
And that was we hosted a student from that area. His name was Francesco, and when Jill, my partner, and I went to realize a dream of living for a year in Tuscany, Francesco helped us find this. It was a home that belonged to a friend of a friend, and like everything else in Italy, and because it was a friend of a friend, we got very much the local experience, and it wasn't exactly what Jill was looking for, but when we first took a look at this idea of living a little bit out in the country, 5 miles from a major village, if you will, I loved it, but it took a little bit of convincing for Jill, and now we're, of course, hugely grateful a dozen years later that we've had this opportunity to get to know these people, and they've gotten to know us, and no one speaks English in the village, and we're also the only Americans they've ever met. So anyway,
that's
again,
awesome.
it's an incredible opportunity for us to kind of return to the basic life of community each year, which helps us, again, live a better life here.
I love it, and just it's a different pace.
Oh, it's completely different.
We were talking about that before the show. My dad lived in Italy for many, many years, and so I would go back and forth and visit him.
Sure.
And it was nice because we would stay at his apartment, right? It's different than just kind of city
Where?
hopping. He lived 2 different places. He lived in L'Aquila, which is
L'Aquila.
about an hour and a half north
Familiar
of
with that.
Rome.
Yep.
Beautiful little town.
Yep.
They call it the town of 100 churches.
Uh-huh.
I think they actually all have 100 churches in Italy.
Well,
But-
L'Aquila in that particular area of Italy, it's a mountainous area, is beautiful, and
It's
we
gorgeous.
have a favorite place called Amatrice, which is near there, and one of our favorite dishes that was taught to us by our best friend, my best friend, my fratello Italiano, my Italian brother Amadeo. He taught us how to make bucatini amatriciana, and so
good stuff.
Amatrice is very near to L'Aquila, where your family's from.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was beautiful. We had a great time, and it's a different pace of
Sure.
life. Everything's better. I would
I
say
agree.
not just in Italy, but I would always come home a different person.
Sure.
And it would last for a couple months, and
And then
you
you're
have to go
back.
back. But that's okay.
Right. But that also shows you the value of travel.
Right.
Travel definitely changes your perspective. I think back to some of the things that Anthony Bourdain taught us as a traveler, that most of what happens when we travel is when we travel kind of on a road that most others either haven't or didn't, and we
Right.
meet people and we try their food and we get to know their customs, and again, I think travel is meant to do that if you're willing.
Absolutely. And it's, funny the common bonds that you end up having,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And just that whole, the whole passeggiata in
Yeah,
the evening, right?
absolutely,
Where
yeah.
everybody gets out and they walk,
Mhm.
and you go into the bar and you have your little appetizers and your drink before
Yep.
dinner.
And that's truly community.
that was all.
It's all about community.
Yes.
So, and that's why, again, we love it so much.
Absolutely. I remember the first time my husband and I went, the first time he came with me, gosh, probably almost 20 years ago. And
Wow.
he was a little nervous
Sure.
because it was his first trip, and
Yeah.
we walked into one of our favorite little bars over there, and they were playing Bruce Springsteen.
Oh.
I thought, this is going to be
I'll
fine.
be okay.
Yeah. And he's loved Italy ever since.
Well, and I think everybody thinks that when you go to a foreign country, everything's foreign. But one quick story, I was up in near Modena, where balsamic vinegar comes from, and this new friend of a friend took me to a bar up in the hills, and when we pulled up, there were Harleys lined up in front of the
Oh,
place. And I
wow.
thought, this is interesting. And when we went in, it was all 70s rock and roll. I felt like I was in just
Yeah.
outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
Again, there are many commonalities when you
Absolutely.
travel, but that mix, that kind of the mixture of the two, foreign and familiar, are kind of what helps you as a traveler feel comfortable.
Absolutely, for
So.
sure. What are your favorite things about Italy from a lifestyle perspective?
Again, the friendships that we've
Yeah.
made there, we feel so grateful to have made these friendships. And so going back, one of the stories that I write about is when we go up the road, up the dirt road to the house that we stay in each year, and that kind of little bit of a nervous feeling about, okay, the language is about to change. They think that we can just jump right back into the language. That and then they accept us.
Right.
They open the door of the car before we practically have it in park, and they hug us and they love us, and we know that nervousness is again something that is because it's a foreign experience. But
Right.
to answer your question directly, it's really, really about these wonderful friendships and how, again, grateful we are to have them.
That's wonderful. And so you go with your partner and your daughter as
Yeah,
well.
Daniela.
And does she speak Italian?
She's learning,
Okay.
and it's been an interesting experience for her that she takes back every year, a
Yeah.
couple, 3 new words. She's got 2 or 3 great friends there, Elisabetta, Pier Paolo, Gianmarco, Gianluca. These are all kids she's kind of grown up with.
That's awesome.
And it's, we call them cugini italiani. They're her Italian cousins.
That's
So,
awesome. I love it. And it's always fun when it's actually good to be the new kid, right, when you're different.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So,
And they want
I'm
to
sure
learn a
that-
little bit of English,
Yeah.
and she's picking up the Italian, and so it's and we frankly learn more language-wise from the kids than we do from other adults.
I bet.
Yeah, they call the language that I speak over there. They won't call it Italiano. They call it Leriano.
Oh.
Because it's a really stripped
It's your
down
version.
version. No, it's a stripped down version of their local language.
That's funny.
Yeah, they call it lingua ufficiale. The official language when we're there is Leriano. So.
As long as it works.
Well, it works fine because there's no other way.
You got your pasta and your wine, and life is
Everything's
good.
good. Yeah, we have bread delivered 3 days a week. It's about as good as it gets.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going next year with the kids.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
All right, I'll have to reach out
Sure.
to you on that.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. Awesome, I love it. And you've got another book as well.
Yes, Which One Am I? 12 Extraordinary People Like You
Yes.
is a book that I wrote primarily as an ode to my extraordinary mother.
Okay.
She left us after a 4-year struggle with vascular dementia, and she cared for highly vulnerable children during her life, and much of the lessons that she taught us, we still live with, and that is really representing those who need our help the most.
Got it.
So this was a story that I had an opportunity to write about her, and then 12 other people in our community here, in the, many of them in the 425.
Oh, great. That have influenced your life.
That have impacted my life, but also that I greatly admire for their work in the community.
Yes.
So they embody this similar values to my mother, and that was really the moral compass of the book, is who are the people that are closest to me that embody the qualities of my late mother.
Right.
And again, there's people that really have had an impact on me, but really haven't been impactful on the community as a whole.
Right.
So
That's
anyway.
awesome. What are some of your mom's favorite traits that you carry with you today?
Well, first of all, kindness. She really believed that if all we did was just be kind to each other, that there would be fewer problems. The other thing that I loved about my mom is she focused all of her attention away from her. Some people call that humility or being humble. It was more about helping people realize what made them special to her.
Oh, which is huge.
Right. So I could sit here and say, Nicole, you have this quality and that quality, but unless I say to you, that's what's important to me about you.
Right.
That was the difference that she made.
Which
So,
takes it from being not a flippant comment, but something that you're like, just something that really means something and resonates to that other person.
the other thing about this book that was really important to me in writing was that everyone had an opportunity to figure out what was unique about them, what was extraordinary about them. So the last chapter of the book is called Your Turn.
Okay.
And it's a way to figure out what 5 extraordinary qualities you have that the world is waiting for you to share. And that way you go out into the world with these, we'll call them qualities, extraordinary gifts that the world's waiting for you to share. And it's that way the book isn't just about 12 people, it's about 12 people and you.
Right. I love it. How do you help people figure out what their unique qualities are?
There's 5 questions again under in the back of the book. And the first question is, write down 2 things that you have helped other people do to accomplish their goals in life.
Oh, I love it.
So, in other words, you're really using your time to help other people get their needs met, but just the gift of helping others is very much a beautiful way to live.
Right.
And that was one of them, or that's one of the questions. The other part of it that, again, almost all of these are reflections of my mother, but being able to give people an opportunity to really look at the qualities that they embody in writing.
Right.
When you write things down and look at them about your own life and what you give to others, I find that for my own life and the others that we've helped with this book, they really understand themselves and how they are, again, bringing the good in others out and serving others at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. And I love kindness. In fact, it came up with our boys last night. We were having a conversation about something and, some frustrating stuff that had happened at school and stuff like that. And in that moment, actually, the way I phrased it was grace, which in a lot of ways is kindness,
No
right?
question.
Of, there's a good chance, there's always more going on, right? And for all of us to take that step back and realize that whatever's going on, right? It might not even really be right. Or, but there's usually more going on, and so a little bit of grace offered to someone else can go so far.
Sure. I also have figured out that being a parent is a very important game of follow the leader.
For sure.
but you have to choose your leaders that you're following.
Right.
And if you want your child to follow you, you just have to really be careful about not only what you say, about who you say it to, about your actions. And if you're not willing to do the things you're asking your child to do, that becomes, I think, a reason for your child to find a different path, a different direction than the one that you're giving them.
Right.
So anyway, I'm really cognizant of my behavior and my words and really how I serve. 'Cause
Right.
if I'm expecting her to do that, I better be doing it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you serve tremendously. You do a lot in
Thank
the
you.
community.
Right.
I know we were talking about this before the show. You do a lot with auctioneering. You've done
Yep.
a lot with the Boys and Girls Club.
I do, and I think, again, if you looked in the deepest parts of my soul, most of it is really a reflection of how my mother served children, especially highly vulnerable children in some of the toughest parts of Seattle. She chose to do that. That was her path, and so I'm really trying to spend the rest of my life in honor of her.
That's
And
wonderful.
the things that she
Was she a
did.
social worker, or how did she work with
She
the children?
ran preschools and daycare centers in, again, some of the toughest neighborhoods in central
Okay.
Seattle.
Wow.
99% DSHS schools. And so,
And back before Seattle was gentrified and
yeah,
the
well,
neighborhoods
Holly
were
Park
rougher.
is an area of Rainier Beach that, again, was a really, really tough neighborhood. And I write in her chapter just about what it was like for me to see my mother serving, and how I now go out in the world in honor of her and try and serve at that level as well, which is very difficult because, again, you're dealing with some highly challenged communities that need the help, and for some it would be easy to avoid it. But
Right.
she was both hands, both feet, and she brought her kids and my great father with her into her world, and we've been the beneficiaries of that great work in the community.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're just so grateful to now follow her path and celebrate her life, and all the things that mattered most to her now matter most to us.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Again, if you're just joining us, we are the 425 show. We've got Larry J. Snyder here with us today, the author of 2 really amazing books, Miracles in Montanare, which is all about Italy,
Yes.
which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But the power of community, and Italians they've got that community thing down, for sure.
Oh, no, I agree. I think also there are many other cultures that do as well.
Yes.
You and I just happen to share a passion for Italian culture, and there are very few people I've ever met that don't love most of the aspects of
Right.
Italian life, whether it's music, fashion, food, togetherness.
Right.
I could go on, but those are the things that we seem to associate with Italy
For
the
sure.
most.
For me, it's the space.
Yeah.
Right. And here we're just busy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's in many ways it's just part of life, right?
Right.
You know, you're always going from one thing to another, especially if you're working and you have children that are active in whatever they're doing, right?
Yep.
Ours are in sports, but it could be arts, it could be anything.
Yep.
Your schedule fills up in a hurry, and all of a sudden you realize you're busy,
Right.
but you're not really connecting. And
No.
so to take that time to connect,
And I
it's
think
powerful.
I think one of the things that the Italians have taught us is that the most important thing that we can be doing is sitting underneath the olive tree, just talking,
Right.
or trying to talk in our case, and that. When we look back at our time, you know, what were the most memorable parts of our time in Italy, for example? It almost always goes back to just sitting
Right.
under the tree, under the olive tree, or sitting at the neighbor's plastic table, helping them shuck peas from their garden, or peeling onions from our garden, or anything that just is about that raw organic time together is really what we reflect on as the most important moments of our lives. And again, in America, we have so many choices, we have so much access to other activities, that sitting out on our deck for 3 or 4 hours is, wow, we're always wondering, what else should we be doing right now? And for our friends in Italy, the answer is very clear. They don't even ask the question.
Right.
It's, we're sitting here talking to you. And that's all that matters. And if people want to join us, we'll just go find another chair.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we end up with 15 or 20 people that are just sitting around having a conversation, and it ebbs and flows. It's not about one thing. It might be about soccer, it might be about America, it might be about politics, it might be about culture. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We never run out of things to talk about. Let's put it that way.
Right. I remember someone telling me years and years ago, especially when it comes to relationships, you know, there's quality and there's quantity.
Sure.
Really, quality comes from quantity, right? It's just spending time together.
Sure.
The whole notion of, you know, especially with your kids, right? Of like, okay, I'm home for work, 15 minutes. Let's
Right.
have quality time, right?
Yeah.
Download. It doesn't really work that way.
I think one more time as a parent that I really have to embody and model what I want my daughter to know me as.
Right.
And anything outside of that is really just talk.
Right.
It's really just, again, trying to figure out what I can do with this 15 minutes that you're talking about
Right.
that demonstrates to her what kind of a father I am. And if she chooses to model that behavior, then I better be pretty careful what it is.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I don't like that whole do as I say and not as I do, because I
Right.
think that's a mixed message. And there's not a lot of commitment in that either.
Yeah. That's,
So.
yeah. It's funny as you're saying that. I'm like, I wonder what my kids would say about me.
I-
Maybe I should ask
Yeah,
them. I
well,
don't know.
no, I think you make all of your own decisions, and if one of them is to just be cognizant of what they
Yeah.
are, what you want them to do,
Yes.
because it's going to be follow the leader. I've figured out, it's taken me a while, but I figured out that really is the boil it down. And again, following my mother's legacy is really about following the leader and following
Right.
my dad too. So
Right.
whatever I want out of my life, sometimes I just look at their legacy, and it makes the decision making pretty easy about who I serve and how.
Yeah, that's beautiful
Mhm.
to have that. In fact, because you like a good question, I
Yes.
am gathering.
Yes, I like several good questions.
There's, one of them is, what happened today that I'll never forget? I think that's great.
That's really the genesis of Which One Am I, the book. I figured out that question is best asked for me when I put my head on my pillow at night and I reflect on what happened today that I'll never forget. Most of the things that come into my mind are the way I've served other people during
Right.
that day. And so now I go out in the world to serve so that I can answer that question. It's
Right.
kind of a circle. I ask myself in the morning, which one am I? And I ask myself at night, what happened today that I'll never forget?
Right.
And again, the majority of the time, it's easy to answer that question when I've spent my day in service to others.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. And that way also, I really feel like my day counted. Have you ever had that problem where you went to bed and said, what did I actually do
Yeah,
today?
well, and I think most people feel like that most days. That's what I love about this question.
Good. Well, I hope you use that question.
Yes, because I think it's like you said, it's a filter question in the morning of, okay, what can I do today? But then also at the end of the day, acknowledging that every day has something
Sure.
memorable and special
Yep.
about it.
Right.
And every day should. You know, they're not always going to be big, like I conquered the world memorable things, but to acknowledge that every day has something special about it.
Sure. If you gave a bottle of water to someone that's sitting at a stop sign with a sign that says anything helps, that is again going to make an imprint on your mind that makes it easy for you to answer that question at the end of the day. And again, I think it will go back as a parent. If your children are sitting in the back seat and they see you hand a bottle of water to someone at a stop sign, again, you're not trying to be a hero here. You're just trying to serve other people in the most simple way, but again, direct way that you can.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which right about now during the holidays could be as simple as smiling at somebody in Costco.
Yeah.
It was,
Right.
I was there yesterday and everybody's so determined.
Sure,
with those
absolutely.
carts.
Right. Well, and everybody's trying to
And I
get.
was just smiling at people and all of a sudden we were like, oh yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's in a big giant hurry too, and.
Yes, there's
I'm
lots to get done.
Yeah, as I look out on 405, I can see that everybody's not in a hurry today because nobody's going anywhere.
No.
So, but I think that's just the way that it is. And again, one more time, it's been, this is really about serving others for me.
Yes.
It's a part of my life that's really a mission to just get out of bed every day and figure out how I can do that, and how happy it makes me,
Right.
happy to serve other people.
I love it.
Yeah.
And if you are out there listening and are interested in either of Larry's books, they're amazing. And Larry does a lot of speaking as well for other organizations. We will have all of that on the website after the show, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Or they could even go directly to your website.
Yeah,
which is
LarryJSnyder.com.
Yeah,
Easy enough.
exactly, so-
There's all types of resources in terms of both the books, and also if you'd like me to come and talk to your company or your service group about how to answer that question, which one am I? There are 380 million people in the United States of America, but which one am I?
Right,
What
because
makes
we're all
me?
unique.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
that's
love
important.
it.
And I think everyone is unique and different. So
Perfect.
that's my mission, is to help you figure that out.
Awesome. And we're doing it in the 425. So Larry, what are some of your favorite 425 spots?
425, well, Bellevue, first of all, and all of 425, literally from Renton to Bothell, there are so many terrific spaces. I love the Bellevue Downtown Park.
Oh,
To
isn't
just
it
go for a
beautiful?
walk.
It's
I love the
gorgeous.
marina in downtown Bellevue. They're making a beautiful park, as you know, building a beautiful park. Crossroads Park is pretty cool. You know, we only have one giant whale in Bellevue, and
Yeah.
it's at the Crossroads Park.
Well, there you go.
Love Lakes the Mamish. We're
Yeah.
lucky enough to live just above the lake, below Microsoft.
Nice.
And really, I just feel grateful to live in a thriving, not only economy, but where we really put a value on the development of the area. And
Yes.
obviously we have some work to do on traffic, but again, I'd rather have that than the opposite problem.
Right.
And as I mentioned earlier, I've been part of this community for, gosh, since the early 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
well, and so, and then even before that, in the 1970s, I played hockey at Crossroads Mall. Do you know where the Michaels building is?
Oh, sure.
That was a hockey rink.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
I used to play our
awesome.
Sunday night hockey games there.
That's
and if
great.
we won, we got to go to Farrell's. And if we
Oh.
lost, we had to go home and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I just really am grateful,
That is awesome.
again, to have watched this community and been a part of it. And I'm grateful to real estate professionals like you,
Oh, thank
who have
you.
really done a great job of taking care of people's real estate needs here on the east side.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's even in the last, well, I've been here almost 30 years now. So it's been fun to watch it change for sure. So yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody. Again, we had Larry J. Snyder on the 425 show. All kinds of cool stuff. Which one are you? That's your question for today. To figure out which one are you, because you are amazing and you are special and you have talents that nobody else does. So think about that. And we will see you next week. Again, if you have real estate questions, I always invite you to send me an email, Nicole@NicoleMangina.com. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.